Hello, good morning, everybody. Morning, if you are still in the morning, maybe if you're on the East Coast, you're edging on afternoon, but welcome. We're so glad to have you all here today. I'm going to let some people jump into the webinar really quickly. Just a quick reminder to everyone, please hop over to chat. Make sure you set your message to go to everyone so we can all share comments, questions, feedback. Why don't you go ahead and tell us who you are, where you're from, what your role is. We are really thrilled to be talking today about entry-level driver training, and of course, ongoing training. It's back to school season, it's in-service season, and it's time to get rolling again and get those new drivers trained up and ready for the school year. So lots to cover, and Steve Kessler is joining today. Steve has been with Infinit-I for many moons and is managing our events and has done so much more about new market development. He also presents at our live events about getting the most out of training, making sure that you have driver participation, the ROI of training, all sorts of good knowledge running around Steve's head. And so again, we're here today going to talk about ELDT. Specifically the theory portion of ELDT, and then of course ongoing training as we roll into the new school year. One more time, open up chat. I see a lot of people in there, so go ahead and add your name and where you're visiting from. Make sure you're chatting all participants. And with that, I'll pass it off to Steve.
Great, thanks, Lydia. Good morning, everyone. I appreciate you joining us this morning. I don't know what it's like where you are, but it's really hot here. I'm in Texas. So we're enjoying between 105 and 110 degrees every day. So I hope you're somewhere where it's nice and cool. But once again, thanks for joining us. And I don't think the program will go too long today. I'm sure you all are very busy preparing for the upcoming school year. Obviously, student transportation is a key part of that. And there's often some challenges in making sure we have enough qualified bus drivers to make sure our kids get to school and back safely. So what we're going to talk about today, as Lydia said, is entry-level driver training and ongoing training for student transportation. To kind of start the process here, if I can get my slide to move here, hold on one second. Entry-level driver training, as some of you may know, is a requirement now by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. It's required to ensure that all commercial motor vehicle drivers receive adequate training. So this is a federally mandated baseline for your drivers. So who does it apply to? The program has actually been in effect now for about 18 months. It began February the 7th of 2022. So anybody that had their CDL and their school bus and passenger endorsements before February 7th of 2022, this does not apply to them. But anybody that's new that needs to get their Class B CDL and their passenger and student endorsements, this now applies to them and is a requirement. As you can see on the screen, the ELDT is broken down into two major sections, the theory and the behind the wheel training. Today, we're going to focus mostly on the theory training piece. Just so you all know, we are an approved provider in the training provider registry. In other words, we offer the FMCSA approved theory training for Class B and for your passenger and student endorsements. So in a way, we've kind of done all the heavy lifting. We've done the research, the creation, built templates, so this is easy to assign out. And we're even going to take care of the reporting back to FMCSA for you. The real beauty of this is, you don't have to create all this content, and we're going to keep it up to date. Over time, there may be some additions or changes to the requirements. We'll take care of that so you don't have to. So we'll make sure we do that for you. One of the things to know when you work with a theory content provider like us, all you really then have to worry about is the second circle on the screen, which is the behind the wheel training. And that's actually the part where your drivers get hands-on experience learning how to handle the school bus. Remember about ELDT, there's no really time requirement for completing the entry-level driver training. You just have to cover all the topics that are set forth by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration for each class and the endorsements. Now, I'm very happy to say that we've been able to reduce the training time required to take care of this mandate through what we call our micro-learning approach. Micro-learning means that the video training pieces are very short. They're between 5 and 7 minutes in length with a test after each segment. And it really, I guess it makes it easier for the drivers to complete the training. They can do it faster, but yet you're still checking all the boxes. You're meeting all of FMCSA's requirements. And I have to tell you that a lot of our clients now are completing the training in about 10 to 12 hours or less. So it's a very efficient way to accomplish this training. Again, there's no time requirements. The FMCSA has established 29 topics for Class B CDL. There are 18 topics for the passenger endorsement, and there are 11 topics for the school bus endorsement. So, if you have a school bus driver trainee that's starting from scratch, they've got 58 topics that they're going to need to be trained on to complete the theory portion. And by the way, it does require a grade, the passing grade on the quizzes of 80% or above. But as I said earlier, Infinit-I, we only provide the theory portion. So I'm not going to cover the behind the wheel topics in any depth, but I did want to let you know that for the behind the wheel portion, there are 18 areas for Class B that they have to go through, 6 for the passenger endorsement and 6 for the school bus endorsement. So what are the training topics? Class B theory, as I said, has 29 topics in total, and you can see those here on the screen. We're not going to read through all these, but obviously the first section is basic operation. Then there are safe operating procedures, advanced operating practices, vehicle systems and reporting malfunctions, and non-driving activities. So there's a fair amount of content that has to be completed for the Class B CDL. The passenger endorsement has 18 topics, as I said. You can see those here on the screen. And it's all pretty standard information, distracted driving, safety belts, all kinds of idling, fueling, pre-trips, all those different things that are pretty standard. The S endorsement has a total of 11 topics that are required. And I'm guessing some of you may have noticed that if you look at Class B and the P and S endorsements, that there's a fair amount of overlap in the training content. And actually that's done on purpose. FMCSA is really kind of taking an approach to be a little redundant with this training, which actually is a good approach to really drive home the training. The idea here is not just to tick a box. We're trying to make sure that you have safe drivers on the road that are taking our children back and forth to school. But the vast majority of this information is pretty standard. Again, the FMCSA's goal here was not to reinvent the wheel, but just to kind of standardize all this training and make sure that people are prepared to get behind the wheel. So all in all, we've got 58 topics to cover. And, you could do this yourself. All the requirements for this are available online. But I guess my question is, why would you do that when we've already taken care of all that? So, it gives you an opportunity not to waste a lot of time and energy. Our ELD packages are pre-built. They're all ready to go. We maintain the content over time. So if there are changes, we'll take care of that. We have a group of researchers and video production people that stay on top of all this. And so if you have this available to train your school bus drivers, it will always be up to date and ready to meet all the requirements. Now, our video production team has always tried to keep things short and simple. I mentioned earlier that we sort of pioneered micro learning, which again are short videos in the 5 to 7 minute range. The idea behind it obviously is human beings typically, especially today, have pretty short attention spans. So it's better to feed information in small segments and then provide quizzes right after that. So it's one topic, train on that, take the quiz, and then you can move on to the next topic. So this works out really nice. There won't be one big giant test at the end that people will fret over. They'll be tested on it as they go through the process. You might find it interesting to know that a few years back, MIT actually did a study on what would be the optimal length for video training online. And their research determined that 6 minutes was the optimal length for training. That helps to maintain attention. And in the end, it actually reduces the time that it takes to complete the training. So ELDT training on our system can generally be completed in about a quarter of the time it would take to do this in person because of the short to the point videos. Traditional in-person classroom training for entry-level theory training has taken as long as 40 hours of classroom training to complete it. And I've actually talked to a few people that have trained this in person, and it's a challenge to cover that much material. And imagine your bus drivers out there sitting in a classroom for 8 hours a day for an entire week to get all this material. Generally, with our system, the training can be completed in about 10 to 12 hours, in some cases a little bit less. By the way, you may be interested to know that since this program went into effect, the Infinit-I system has submitted over 5,200 completed training sessions. So we've had a very large number of new bus drivers that have trained on the platform and successfully completed the program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right, so speaking of short videos, one of the things that we haven't mentioned, but I think it's really important to know with the Infinit-I system, when you have access to our entry-level driver training videos, what you may or may not know is you'll also have access to over 600 additional short student transportation training videos. And in our system, that means there's unlimited usage of that training content. So you can assign it out as many times as you want, and actually comes with the package. And these are topics that are pretty important, things like student management and bus driving safety best practices, students with disabilities, how to secure the wheelchair properly in the bus, content about bullying, and lots more content. And one thing I want to say about training is it's very important if you're going to change behavior. You can't really do that with training one time. So we're talking about spending time and effort here to train your bus drivers to be good quality, safe bus drivers. But it doesn't really just stop right there. You have to continue to reinforce the training throughout the entire year. We often and very often recommend that there should be some kind of safety training put out there for your school bus drivers at least once a month to keep them refreshed, to keep them reminded about the things that are important. And you also have to think about what time of the year are we in? You know, school starts and pretty soon we're looking at winter. Well, you probably need to be reinforcing winter driving safety. When we come into springtime, for example, in a lot of parts of the country, that's when construction starts. So we have construction zones that are dangerous. There are a lot of different opportunities to provide good safety messaging and reinforce what you've taught your drivers to do. One other thing, this system is fully customizable. You can upload your own school policies, procedures, any training content that you've created. Maybe you have training on school bus evacuation. You know, we have that content in our catalog, but maybe you have some special rules and around that. Maybe it's evacuating the school if there's a dangerous situation going on, or any other policies that you want to make sure that you know people have seen, understand, you can test them on it. And by the way, every bit of training is documented, it is dated, time-stamped, and recorded, and a certificate of completion is generated automatically. So everything is recorded, and you know exactly who's trained and who's done what. So, you know, after all this information, you know, how do you get the training? Well, the short answer is you either find a training provider or you become one. And but this is where things get a little bit more complicated. You know, training providers for ELDT have to be listed on the training provider registry. And that would include you if you're training your driver trainees. So to become an approved training provider is going to require that you submit an application to the training provider registry, and you'll be asked to self-certify that you meet all of the entry-level driver training requirements. You also have to affirm that you're only going to teach the prescribed ELDT curriculum and that you have maintained documentation that proves that you're in compliance in the event there might be an audit. So once you're approved as a training provider, you'll be given a unique training provider ID number, which appears on the record. That's part of the commercial driver's license information system. So having said all that, you know, you really don't need to worry about that because we are an approved training provider. We are listed under our business name, which is Vertical Alliance Group. I actually have a screen capture here. If you were to log into the training provider registry and search for our company name, you'd see us listed as a certified provider under the system. So, you know, the really great thing about this whole program is, you know, there's no paper chase. We take care of all of the reporting back to FMCSA on your behalf. In fact, as these entry-level driver training topics are completed, and once one of your trainee drivers has completed all the content for the theory portion, that's immediately transmitted to FMCSA's registry. In fact, that's done about every 5 minutes. So there are a lot of people training on the system all the time, and there's no delay in getting this information into the registry. So it's been documented, and then your people can move on and complete and get their Class B and all their endorsements. By the way, you can self-report if you choose to do that. We've created sort of an easy reporting feature to export training records. But so you don't have to hassle with the reporting. We do that for you. And that's kind of our mantra around here, is we always try to make things as easy for our customers out there as we possibly can. So that pretty much kind of wraps up the content I wanted to talk about. Lydia or anybody else out there have any questions that
Yeah,
would like to?
let's talk about making it easy since we report for you. Let's talk a little bit about making it easy on the setup side because getting it implemented and rolled out is actually very fast. We do have a client success team that works with all of our clients to handle that stuff. Now, everything that's available on the system, you can do yourself if you want to. It's in your power, you can control it. But a lot of times there's a lot going on. You have a bunch of irons in the fire. So we can handle that. We do handle that for the majority of our clients. What we really just need is a user list to get started. And then we have the templates pre-built for ELDT. We have suggested training templates for ongoing too, if you want to review those. But we can get that assigned and up very quickly. The reporting, as Steve said, is automatic. We basically run the report request every, I think it's 5 minutes, and push out to FMCSA. So we'll verify that the user information that's provided is all there and what's necessary for reporting on the ELDT side, but moves very quickly. There's a question in chat. Do you also do the reporting for behind the wheel and public road reporting? So no, we are theory only on ELDT. Everything behind the wheel is going to be with another training provider, and we can provide the link and follow up, but the training provider registry is public. It's available in FMCSA, and there's a list there where you can see which training providers do which part. Some do both, some do just theory or just behind the wheel. We are just theory. That's our wheelhouse, online training. So we leave behind the wheel to the folks who know best.
Now, one thing I might add to that, Lydia, to become a behind the wheel instructor, obviously you have to register with the registry, but to be able to do this, all a person really needs is to have a CDL of the same class or higher, and also both endorsements, passenger and school bus, and have at least 2 years of driving experience with that class of license and those endorsements. Mm-hmm. And obviously you have to be in good standing. There's no issues with your CDL, whether there's been a suspension or anything like that that may prevent you from participating in that. You should also know that a behind the wheel instructor, if the training is provided solely on a range and not on a public road, someone that doesn't currently have a CDL, but if they've had the CDL B in the past and they've had passenger and school bus, they would be allowed to provide the training, but only on a range. You cannot drive a school bus on a public road without a commercial driver's license. Mm-hmm. So maybe that'll help a little bit. So yeah, it may be in some circumstances that you set one of your own veteran drivers up to be the instructor and take care of the behind the wheel.
Mm-hmm. I gotta say, I ran into Stephanie Bajano, who works with Infinit-I and works with schools here. Stephanie and I got to go down to TAPT a couple weeks ago, and I kept running into folks who were saying, yeah, right now we're doing ELDT in person. It's taking about 40 hours a driver to get through. And I just thought, oh my goodness, no, there's too much to do. There's so much work to be done already. Sorry, my automatic light here. There's so much work to be done already that, like, please, 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 let's take this online. Let's get this knocked out, 11 hours and another thing off your plate. Then that allows you to spend the time doing the in-person coaching, the behind the wheel too, but the in-person coaching as well, which is so critical, and all of the other back to school training. So please think about it, take a look. We would be glad to show the system. Steve, go ahead.
No, I was about to say one thing I forgot to mention is this training can be done actually on a smartphone. We have apps both for Android and Apple. So it's very convenient. Person can log in from wherever they are as long as they can access with their phone and can complete the training there. So it doesn't require a person to be in any certain location. They can be home. They can be on a break or whatever and knock out some of the training. So it's very convenient. Once you have the system, everything is there to help you get connected up and get the app. So I think it's important to remember these days, lot of folks do most everything on their phone, and they can certainly do this also. So I don't know if there are any other questions, but like Lydia said, we want to make sure you have an opportunity. If you want to learn a little bit more about this, we'll be able to have you get in contact with, I think probably Stephanie or somebody from the company will reach out. They can kind of show you how it works, and they'll even give you a demo of the system if that's what you'd like to see. So if anybody out there would like some more information, I think there was a poll that was popped up on the screen. You can let us know if you want some feedback on that, but also we can, let's see if I could get my last slide to come up here. You can reach out to myself or Lydia, and we'd be happy to kind of point you in the right direction. I think my contact information and Lydia's is right up here on the screen. So feel free to call or send me an email. I don't think Lydia would mind either. We're happy to hear from you. Any questions, suggestions, we're always open to that. So Lydia, unless you have anything else, I think we'll let all of our people get back to their busy lives getting ready for this upcoming school year.
Yes. Yeah. Everybody, good luck with in-service. Take it easy, holler if we can help. We're glad to do that. And if we don't know, we'll find out the answer for you. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Steve.
Right.
Take care.
Yeah. Thanks for everybody for coming. Thanks.
Bye.